Hello and welcome to this installment of Instant Transmissions, Instant Reaction. Tonight, me and my co-host Todd
Hi.
will be giving some of our initial reactions to the exciting news that just got announced at the 2026 Genki Dama Festival. And because this is our patented low-effort instant reaction format, I think we can go ahead and get things started unless you wanted to add anything, Todd.
Let's roll right into it.
All right, so we've got a few things to talk about. The first big thing is that we have a popularity poll winner. Well, actually, it's not very exciting. The most popular character in Dragon Ball is Goku, to the shock of nobody.
I mean, I think even the entire top 5 is pretty, at least the top 4 for sure did not surprise me at all. I think we've got Goku at number 1. I think it was Vegeta at number 2. And then from there, it goes down to like Gohan and Piccolo. And then 5 is Vegito, which feels like a cheat to me, but whatever.
I'll say, yeah, I think I may have made this joke last time about how like we have Goku and then Vegeta. And in the top 5, we have a Goku Vegeta. Like, so we have 2 characters that are in the top 5 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. And then Gohan and Piccolo, like, I'm not really surprised there.
I think they should be, though. Like, I think they're great characters, and them being in the top 5 is heartening for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I mean, of course, I'm a Vegeta fanboy, so I'm happy to see him up there, but I'm also not surprised that he's number 2. I mean, that's pretty much his lot in life.
Yeah. The top 5, not surprising. The 6 through 10, though, a little bit of surprises in there. Like, Trunks being number 6. Like, I think he's badass. 13-year-old me thought he was the coolest character on the planet. The fact that he makes it in, like, above some of these other characters kind of blows my mind.
I do kind of, I don't know. I kind of love that because I also love Trunks too. And yeah, absolutely. Teenage me is very, very pleased by that.
Yeah. Bardock made it to number 7, which I hate. You guys need to do better. Think about your decisions in life. But yeah, I know there's a lot of love out there for Bardock, so I guess that's not too terribly surprising.
Yeah, I'm digging through here. So Android 18.
Number
next.
8 has 18, which I think is appropriate. Perfect spot for her. Also, she is a badass character, so I'm happy to see her make it into the top 10.
I gotta say, I mean, we've got Cell at 9, Frieza at 10, which they're probably the 2 most popular villains in the series. I mean, you've got 18 above them, but yeah, is she a villain? Very short-lived villain. I gotta say though, number 11 is your boy.
He almost snuck into that top 10. I mean, that's pretty. Actually, you know what's even more impressive? Yamcha making it to number 12.
That's wild,
Isn't it?
Like, is that just a joke? I don't. Are people saying that they like him because it's funny that he gets killed and chat on? Is that what that is?
It's got to be, right? Like, they love the gag. They love making fun of him and with him. It's got to be something like that, right? And even to some degree, there might even be an argument for that's why Krillin's that high. People think he's funny or fun.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, some people might even vote for Krillin because of the Krillin-owned counter in Team 4-Star. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
And, like, if you don't think that people wouldn't troll, Bulma's family cat made it to number 15. So there's definitely some shenanigans going on.
Yeah, there's some, like, actually, this top 20 is, like what, 15 to 20 here is real weird to me because it's Bulma's family cat, Goten, which I would not expect him to be this high, Chi-Chi, which I really would not expect to be this high, and then Lunch is in the top 20, which, again, what?
Yeah, I don't know who would pick Lunch above Videl, which is exactly where they lined up. So, I mean, I think people were having some fun with this one, which is fine. Like, I don't think any of these polls should be taken too seriously. But it also makes me scratch my head, like, how did they decide on the family cat?
Yeah, I mean, I think this poll, I think it had like 220 characters or something like that. And I think they were pulling some pretty obscure characters for sure.
But we just wanted to touch on that. We kind of talked about it. It's not worth doing its own episode just to round this up, mostly because there aren't really that many surprises here in the top 5 or 10. And yeah, I think this was all announced at the Genki Dama or around the time of the Genki Dama. So it seems like we should have rolled all of this together.
Yeah, the last thing that I just thought of that I wanted to point out is that Vegito is in the top 5, but there's no sign of Gogeta to be seen, which is very interesting to me.
Well, which one was in the Broly movie?
That was Gogeta, which is why I'm surprised that
Really?
I'm surprised he's not shown in here, period.
That's why. See, I like Gogeta better than Vegito. Just saying. That's because I thought the Broly movie was cool as hell.
I think I might be there with you, mostly because of the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was curious, but yeah, the poll is the top 5 is not shocking at all. Otherwise, it's cool. It was fun little experiment that they did to see who would come out on top.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, we just wanted to touch on that. And now we're going to get into the actual meat and potatoes of this episode. And we're going to kick it off with some interesting news that I didn't expect. And that's we are getting Dragon Ball Super Beerus Enhanced Edition, I believe is what it's called. So if I understand this correctly, Todd, this is not a completely new movie, but like a highly edited remaster put together. Like, did you read into this? Because I'm trying to understand exactly what this is and why this is.
So the interesting part is that over the past week, so the Genki Dama Festival, or the Genki Damatsuri, it took place, I think it was on January 24th, maybe 26th, whatever, last week, effectively. When they announced this Dragon Ball Super Beerus, I thought that it was just going to be kind of like a rehash of the Beerus arc in the Dragon Ball Super anime. Since the Genki Damatsuri actually took place, there's been more information now that Dragon Ball Super Beerus is going to start by making a condensed and kind of like reimagined version of the Beerus arc, and is going to continue from there through Dragon Ball Super. So we're getting 6 episodes that rehashes the Beerus arc. They're going to then move on to the Frieza arc and move on from there, as far as I understand. So
Oh, really? So this isn't just Beerus again. They're kind of redoing and condensing all of Dragon Ball Super, right? Like that's what you're saying?
correct. Yeah, there were rumors that this was going to be basically like a Dragon Ball Super Kai, which kind of, but also they're fully reanimating some sequences. They're fully redubbing revoicing all of it, or at least most of it. They are using some of the original animation, or even just like kind of going over some of the original animation from Super. But this is so much more than just like what they did with Dragon Ball Z Kai, of just kind of like cutting stuff out and revoicing it. I'm actually really excited to see how this turns out.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know all that. That's incredibly exciting. This is something that I've more or less been asking for. It's a struggle to watch through all of Super because there's so much filler and things get drawn out so much, and you can tell that they're trying to fill time or buy time. And I mean, there's also just like parts where the animation in Super just suffers severely, and it's really difficult to look at. If we can get like these hyper condensed mini arcs that are done up to the high level that we know they can animate them to, this needs to be done well, and it needs to be rewarded if it's done well. We need to send the message that this is exactly the type of content that we want. And if you guys did this with, say, Dragon Ball Z and gave us a condensed version of that with new animations and all the filler cut out and something that's a little easier to watch than like Kai felt like it was suffering from some weird pacing issues and the way stuff was stitched together. Like if we could just get condensed arcs for all of Dragon Ball with new animation, I mean, that would be a dream come true. Like, I can't imagine a better type of release schedule going forward.
Yeah, I'm excited for this, especially after learning the additional. Like originally, I was kind of like, we're getting Beerus for the third time, or maybe fourth if you count like the manga and stuff. Um, I wasn't super pumped until I heard that they were going to continue through Super, especially doing like the Frieza arc. If they do like the Universe 6 and 7 tournament and redo some of that, that would be awesome. They could redo part of the Future Trunks arc. Um, I'm curious. So, there are some of the information that's come out is that they're going to try to also incorporate some of the manga plot lines or elements, because the Dragon Ball Super anime and the manga are wildly different. So I'm super curious to see how that turns out. I'm hoping, like for the Trunks arc, for instance, I'm hoping that they go back and change that absolutely terrible ending.
Yeah. I mean, man, I don't want to get too excited, but I already feel myself getting too excited. Like the potential that this project has is through the roof. And I mean, yeah, this just blew my mind. I didn't know because I did the initial research into this when it was kind of first announced, and I wasn't sure what to make of this, but I'm as details come out, um I man, we're gonna have to like watch this very closely because this could be some of the biggest Dragon Ball news in a long time.
I'm super pumped about it now. The a couple other things about it is that they're also releasing it seasonally. So, which sounds, well, it's a mixed bag, but good, I think. So basically, they're going to release 6 episodes for the Beerus arc, and then they're going to take some time off. I don't know how long that is, but some time off to then release the Frieza arc. I think this is good given the fact that the reason that Dragon Ball Super had such bad animation and had so much fluff in it is because their release schedule was, it was weekly and they gave almost no lead up production time. So this sounds like they're taking that feedback and actually listening to the audience and being like, okay, we're going to take our time and make sure that this is made with quality rather than just kicking it out the door as quickly as possible.
And I guess even more good news is that we're not going to have to wait too long before we really get to see what all this looks like because I believe it's coming out this fall from what I was able to find. So it's actually right around the corner, which is also incredible. Like the fact that we're getting new, well, quote unquote, new Dragon Ball content very soon is even better news than what I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah, same. I was a little bit almost worried when I heard that it was coming out this fall because I was like, that sounds a little bit rushed, but it's only going to be 6 episodes initially. So, I mean, that gives them, I mean, we're recording this on February 1st. Like, that's lots of time to do 6 episodes. One of the other things, too, is that they are. Oh, I totally lost my train of thought there. I'm just excited to see what they do with Super. I would love to see them do something like this or even maybe a bigger project for Dragon Ball Z, but I'm glad they're going back and kind of correcting the mistakes that they made originally with Super.
Yeah, and we do have Kai for Z, so it's not like there's an urgent need to release anything for that older Dragon Ball content. I mean, it's tough getting someone new into Dragon Ball with something like
Yes.
Super or like the original Z series. I think these projects could be a great way for onboarding people into the franchise. Give them some more condensed content, give them great animations, something that's exciting. And I think you can hook people this way. You can get them in, you can onboard them much more easily than it would have been previously because we've had this discussion before. It's like, how do you take somebody who's brand new to Dragon Ball and introduce them? Because so much of this for me was nostalgia, right? Like I watched it as a kid. It didn't matter if it was filler or not. I didn't care. Also, there wasn't really any other way to consume media when I was a kid. So you either watch this or you didn't watch anything. It's tough nowadays when you can pretty much watch whenever you want a la carte, right? Like if there's something better out there to watch, people can just watch it. And so you really need to have a compelling, uh, interesting show, an interesting way to get people into your, I mean, our hobby, our world, our universe at this point. Um, and I think this might be that on board we're looking for.
Yeah, yeah, I very much agree. I really don't know where I would tell people to start if I tried to get them into Dragon Ball in like right now. I don't know what I would tell somebody to watch. So this could be great for that. One of the other things that I thought was really telling of the this project and how they're handling it is that the trailer itself showcases the sequences, like I think it's episode 5 in the original Dragon Ball Super, that had some of the worst animation that I've ever seen, with Goku fighting Beerus on King Kai's planet. They show those sequences in the trailer, and they look very good. They look so much better than the original animation. So it shows that they are going back and deliberately correcting the biggest mistakes that they made, which I'm excited for. I'm very curious to see how this turns out as a finished product.
It also shows a lot of maturity from the studio, right? The fact that they're able to take this feedback and correct some of their mistakes. So this is also just it's great for Dragon Ball, and it's great for the studio as well.
Yeah, very much. I well, uh, I think the only other thing that I would have to say about that has to connect with one of our other points here that we're talking about. So we could probably move on to. Did we want to move on to the game stuff?
Yeah, because I think I'm kind of saving the big one for last. So let's just touch on the games real quick, because I don't think either of us are really huge into the video game scene, but there are some quick things we just wanted to touch on here. The big one being that there's a brand new video game called, I believe, Age 1000 is what the title is, and it's going to be a brand new Dragon Ball world. So it appears to take place in a brand new setting with entirely new characters, from what I was able to find about it.
Yeah, yeah, more or less. There are some interesting tidbits in here though that, oh man, I need to look up what year it came out. There was an MMORPG, I think it was an RPG, basically an MMO game, called Dragon Ball Online, that I think was only released in maybe Japan. God, this was probably like in the 2000s at some point, but it basically took place in the year 1000. So in Dragon Ball, in the timeline, our characters that we know, like Goku, Vegeta, everybody inside the timeline, they are acting around like age 700 to 800, somewhere in that ballpark. So this is effectively like hundreds of years in the future. Um, but it's also interesting that this takes place at the same time as like the Dragon Ball Online. So I'm wondering if they're taking a lot of that content or that concept in Dragon Ball Online, where you could kind of like create your own Dragon Ball character with key powers and all this stuff, and if they're trying to like shift that forward and translate it into like a modern day video game, which also makes me wonder, especially the way the trailer looks, it makes me wonder if it's going to be like a massive multiplayer online game, and that's kind of like the the concept for it.
I'd believe that. And I mean, I guess part of the reason is the character they kind of preview with it. He's a slender looking man with like white hair, wearing black pants, black undershirt with like a green vest, and it seems like there's like Capsule Corp, like slogans and stuff on him. My big thing with him is he kind of looks more like a Pokemon character than he does like a Dragon Ball character to me, just the way he's set up. But that would make a lot more sense if this is designed to have like character customization, and this is an example of a character you could customize. That actually checks out to me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I One of the things that I thought was very interesting about this trailer, I think it's like 2 minutes, but they specifically say Akira Toriyama presents at the beginning of it, and I was like, that feels weird. Um But I guess this character design, this white-haired character, is was a design from Akira Toriyama. Apparently, he had worked on this before his passing and everything. Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to be. I guess we'll kind of have to see if it's what type of game it is. I mean, the trailer basically just shows this white-haired guy beating up on. It reminds me of beating up on like putties and Power Rangers or something. Like they're just I don't know these like gray, shapeless ninja-looking creatures. And then he also it almost looks like he kind of like Matrix style taps into powers. Like you see him kind of in his head go through this little corridor and access Goku and then turn Super Saiyan, which is I don't know, it's interesting. I don't know if it's supposed to be like Matrix style power acquisition or what.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I have some questions, but I think we're going to probably get a lot of answers at the Dragon Ball Battle Games. I'm sorry, the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour that's in April 2026. It sounds like they're supposed to be releasing more details on it, so it's only a few months out now, and we'll have a lot more details about this. I thought it was interesting that they're doing a brand new setting with brand new characters, and it always makes you wonder what this could mean for the rest of the Dragon Ball franchise.
I think one thing that's cool about it at bare minimum is that I mean it's called Age 1000, you see this other character. It's not going to be like almost every other Dragon Ball game where it's just kind of rehashing the same storyline that we all have gone through 8 million times. Which I mean, I guess I'm fine with that too, but it's something new and different, which is exciting, even though, we're not super big into the game world.
Yeah, and I mean it's all the problems that kind of plague the current Dragon Ball setting. You can just kind of get rid of those and press the reset button and set things up again. It's a brand new slate, and it's something that you can get excited about, right? Like it's not like we kind of know that the universe isn't going to end during the universe arc, right? Like we know that's not going to happen. But at the same time, Dragon Ball's also kind of written itself into this weird like power corner where the stakes really can't get any higher other than the erasure of the entire universe. I don't know where they go from there. So having a brand new setting where you can kind of set things back to a more relatable level could be a very good thing.
That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, that's stuff that we talked about with the release of Daima and whatnot. And if they bring things back down to be a little bit more, I don't know, like ground level stakes, I think I would like that a lot.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. I suppose in the other little bit of gaming content I wanted to touch on, Sparking Zero is getting a big DLC with a ton of characters for people who are interested. And, they mentioned Super Saiyan Bardock, and I wanted to ask you, what's that about? Did Bardock ever go Super Saiyan?
Yes, sort of. There is a movie or a special. I don't even remember the name of it. It might even just be like Super Saiyan Bardock. Um, it we'll have to watch it at some point. It's kind of like I don't know, an alternate timeline, alternate universe sort of thing. It's a little bit silly, a little bit fan servicey, but people fucking. I mean, that poll shows people love Bardock, man. So it's gonna sell games, I guess.
Yeah. So very interesting. I'm it's Bardock. I don't have much to say.
Yeah, there's a couple other characters. There's like Super Android 17 from GT. There's Demon King Piccolo. And I think they're pulling in some Daima characters too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean it's fun. We haven't really touched Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, but I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Actually, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I've heard that people actually really enjoy that game. So it's fun that they're still supporting it and that people who are playing that game are getting what seems like a pretty big content dump.
Yes, 100%. I think that's most of the game stuff. Do we want to shift over to me what is probably the most exciting announcement?
Yeah, this is the big one. This is the one that we were actually hoping for uh, before everything got announced. This is Dragon Ball Super The Galactic Patrol, which Todd confirmed for me that this is not just a Jocko filler arc and is the actual continuation of the Dragon Ball Super anime series.
Yes, yes. So, and by that, this is moving past the Tournament of Power arc, not only in the anime, but in the manga, and is going to cover what is regularly referred to as the Moro arc. So they've kind of rebranded it, which maybe is I like the name. I think it feels appropriate for what happens in the manga. Uh, I'm hoping we don't know a lot of details about this announcement beyond it's going to be the Moro arc. I'm hoping it covers the entire Moro arc. I also am very curious to see. So there's another arc past the Moro arc in the manga called the Granola arc. I mean, the fact that they're doing the Moro arc or the Galactic Patrol arc at all leads me to believe that they're going to do the arc following that, but we don't really have like full confirmation what this is. This could even be like the Galactic Patrol could even be. I'm hoping it covers the entirety of the Moro arc. I'm just hoping it's not like we're gonna divide it up or something weird like that. Um, but we still have so few details. I think they said something about it. This might come out in like 2027 at some point.
Yeah, that's the best guesses that I was able to find because this announcement didn't actually give a firm date. So if if the estimations are correct and we get it sometime in 2027 or 2028, it will be basically 10 years between the end of the Dragon Ball Super, the universe arc, and this new arc coming out. And that's a big jump of time between series. I'm actually really curious, like if you like watch the universe arc and then flip over to this new series, will you be able to actually see a difference in animation quality? Will it look different? Just because so much time has passed, I'm sure methods over 10 years have changed on how they do things.
So that's actually something I wanted to touch on too is that so this announcement came from we basically got three videos, three trailers for each of these announcements. We've kind of touched on the first two a little bit. This last one was unique to say the least because the other two were like 2-minute long trailers and they're covering very clearly covering the content that they are announcing. Like the Beerus arc shows stuff from Dragon Ball Super in the Beerus arc. The Age 1000 trailer shows us this white-haired character and then shows us him fighting ninjas and transforming into Super Saiyan. So, you know, is giving us the a very loose concept of the game. The last trailer though is it's 5 minutes long, which is more than double the length of the other two, and it starts with basically showing us Goku's origin story in the manga. So showing us uh Bardock and Gine sending Goku off to Earth, and it's kind of like it's also we get this big splash screen of the Dragon Ball 40th anniversary, and then it kind of goes through the story of the manga in this absolute gorgeous animation style. I don't know if it's like it kind of looks like they took manga art style and almost like just CGI'd it, but it looks great. And it kind of gives the very briefest rundown through basically the Buu arc. And then we get a quick shot of Goku flying towards the camera away from the Earth, transforming through all of his transformations, going from Super Saiyan to Blue, finally into Ultra Instinct, which is super cool. And then it gives us the kind of like the key animation or image of the Galactic Patrol. We basically see Goku and Vegeta standing beside one another, the symbol of the Galactic Patrol behind them, and the symbol of the Galactic Patrol on Goku's gi and on Vegeta's Saiyan armor. And this was my long-winded way of saying this key art here. The style looks different from anything that we've seen in Dragon Ball Super. It looks, to me, it looks more like an updated version of like Dragon Ball Z art style, which makes me super excited.
Yeah, I don't know how I would exactly describe the style in Super, but it seemed like, I don't want to use the word cartoony, but it seemed like they used brighter colors, like it was a louder palette. I think I'm with you here, where it seems like they've toned that down a little bit, and you get this almost like, I don't know, more. It's an anime, but a more realistic approach to how they're trying to describe these characters with the art. Um, I mean, they don't give us a ton of new content to really go off of here. It's basically just this picture. The rest of it just feels like an awesome like recap hype video, which got me recapped and got me super hyped. So it did its job. Um, but with such an exciting announcement, I would have loved just even 3 seconds of an animation or something for me to go off of, because this is the most teasy teaser that we've been given in a while. We just have this picture to go off of. And the Galactic Patrol, that is what tied to Jocko, right? Like that is kind of the direction that it appears that we're going, some sort of space patrol. I know you've read the manga, so don't spoil anything for me.
Yeah.
But what we don't know a ton, or at least I don't know a ton about Jocko, other than he's part of some space police force where he's out like patrolling the universe, making sure people aren't breaking space law. Like I think time travel is actually against space law. But Jocko also mentions that they have a strict rule of no suicide missions, so he really only stops people that he can.
Yeah, and that I mean that could also be like a Jocko gag too, right? Because he is kind of a he's not the heroic type. We'll put it that way.
Well, I mean, I will
um,
say from my perspective, Jocko always felt kind of ham-fisted in throughout Super. Like I didn't know why he was really there, so it is kind of exciting to maybe see what that purpose is finally.
yeah, that's a great point too. And there are some elements in the manga, and actually it might be in one of the later arcs where there's a little bit of a like an a backstory narrative of Jocko actually meeting Balma's sister, Tights, who I don't think we have ever met in the anime. Um,
They mention her, but I don't think they actually show her on screen.
yeah, yeah. So, and effectively, Jocko meeting Tights, and that's why he's connected to Balma. But we just kind of like Balma just like calls in Jocko, and we don't really get any context for that in the anime. Um, so I'm hoping that the Galactic Patrol will kind of correct that. I hadn't really thought about that because I had read the manga. So like your point about that in the anime makes a lot of sense, that he just kind of comes out of nowhere and doesn't feel like he really adds much of anything to the narrative.
Yeah, I feel like I was barely introduced to him, and then he's always just kind of around, usually for some sort of joke. So having that actually mean something's going to be exciting. I'm also curious. What do you? Oh man, you've already read the manga, so you would know. But the I'm like, they have the Galactic Patrol symbol on their uniforms. I'm trying to like figure out how they go from, because normally it's like usually they'll have their school or their sensei. They'll have their symbols like on their outfit. So I'm kind of curious what that's going to mean too. I have a lot of questions that I know you have the answers to, but don't answer. Don't answer any of my questions.
I do my best to not spoil this stuff. Yes, there is a reason. I will not give you the reason. But yeah, that's, I mean, your speculation is that I think if I remember when I first saw like them with the symbol on their uniforms and stuff, I thought the exact same thing that you did too, where it's like, well, that's usually they've changed it multiple times, particularly most recently, I think, with Whis when Whis is training them, right? They've got the little swirl from Whis on their gi and their armor. So that's yeah, that's I think that's a fair thought or assessment anyway.
So let me ask you this: do you think, um, because we've had so much time, uh, for the manga to come out, and it seems like they're giving us a lot of lead up time to the release of this series, do you think they're going to solve all the issues that Dragon Ball Super had during its release with all the filler and the poor animation? And it seemed like they were stretching content to make different airing dates. Like, do you think that's more or less going to be solved, or do you think we're going to run into some issues with this one?
I deeply hope so. And maybe like anytime there is Dragon Ball content and a Dragon Ball announcement, I struggle to not be wildly optimistic about it. Uh, I mean, we're getting this announcement. Like, I know you said that you would have liked to have seen like some, even just a short sequence of animation, which would have been great. But also, I'm really glad that we're getting this announcement so far ahead of its release, seemingly, because that leads me to believe, anyway, that they're giving themselves lots of lead time for the production of this new arc. And so, if they've got so much time, and well, we kind of saw how that worked with Daima a little bit. I'm hoping that it doesn't turn into the flaws that we saw with Daima. I'm hoping that they actually, I mean, again, I'm hoping they're listening to the feedback from the audience, which includes the feedback for Daima. Like, they had started animating Daima before they had the full like narrative and stuff, which is insane to me. Um, I guess I will say they have the narrative, like they have the manga, so they can't really make that same mistake that they made with Daima, unless they just decide to disregard the manga for some wild reason.
Well, I'm
So
also curious because if they're doing um, like the re-animation or the retelling of Dragon Ball Super, how does that animation setup and team tie in with this new series that's coming out? Is it the same people? Is there some interplay? Are they separate people? What exactly do these two releases, like, how do they play off of each other as far as the production goes?
it's a great point, and I'm hoping that the production of Dragon Ball Super Beerus does not get in the way of the production for the Galactic Patrol. Because while I'm excited that they're going to fix Super, it would be a real bummer for them to like be like, we're fixing Super and releasing the Galactic Patrol, and then both end up being lower quality because they didn't give themselves enough time to do both. I think Totally Not Mark on YouTube has some great details about the artists themselves and who's working on different parts of it. I do know for sure that they are kind of like going back to one of the primary artists who worked on Super is going to be like the art director for Dragon Ball Super Beerus. And I think that makes sense because they're not fully reanimating Dragon Ball Super Beerus. They're animating new sequences and they're kind of reanimating parts that were already done. So it obviously that art style is not going to change, right? But even just the key art piece, the image here for the Galactic Patrol looks to me significantly different from the super art style. You don't have that kind of like shiny look to the characters and everything. So I feel like they're going to transition to a different style. I know I did hear that they have the artist who worked on the Broly movie is going to
Oh,
do some
yes.
significant work in the Galactic Patrol arc. Uh, and if they move in that direction, which really this art style looks kind of like if you took like Dragon Ball Z art style and you took the Broly art style and kind of meshed them, that's kind of what it looks like to me.
That could
which
be a dream. That could be an
yeah,
absolute dream. And if they can implement, you know, since Z, like fighting choreography's kind of been hit or miss, but the Broly movie actually implemented so much fun choreography. If they can bring some of that over too, man, they have all the ingredients going forward, man. Like this is some of the best possible Dragon Ball news that we could have gotten, and we have all the potential in the world for all of this to be some of the best Dragon Ball media that's been released, full stop, right? Like all the major players are here. The story is already in place. It's just execution at this point, right? Like that's all we're looking at is just, can you guys pull it off? Because you have everything you need. You have the people, you have the story, and you have the lead up time now. Like you've got the the landing pad. You've got the trees cleared out, you've got the clearing, you've got whatever, you've got everything you need to build something truly special here. And man, I was expecting good news from Genki Dama, but I'm actually kind of blown away with how great the news was. And honestly, on the heels of Daima, which was, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was kind of a disappointment in my eyes, just because it could have lived up to be so much more. It wasn't bad; it just could have been better. Um, and to hear them kind of listening to feedback and correcting some of their past errors, and um, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been this excited about Dragon Ball in a long time. I don't know about you, Todd.
I mean, and you and probably everybody listening can hear how I'm just like rambling with excitement for this. So it's like, I, man, I truly was not expecting a continuation to the Super anime at all as an announcement. I thought we were going to get like a video game, maybe a movie, maybe something else, but this far exceeded my expectations for any announcement. The only thing that I will say is I'm a little bit bummed, and maybe this will come out later this year. I'm a little bit bummed that they have not announced anything for the manga.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There wasn't anything for that, was there?
Yeah, like the manga has been on hiatus basically for the past year or more since Akira Toriyama passed. And there is where the manga has ended at the moment, there is definitely room for there to be at least one more arc. So I'm hoping that they bring the manga back to finish, to basically close that loop. Um, it also, I mean, well, if we get more manga, it also means the potential for more anime. So that also makes me excited.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they've got a big decision to make on what they want to do with the story of Dragon Ball going forward at this point. Like, do they want to wrap it up? Do they want to try and keep the never ending journey never ending? Because I mean, it's kind of a weird time to be alive as far as the Dragon Ball story. Like, I don't know what direction they would want to go with this. But then again, I haven't read the manga, so I already don't know what the next two story arcs look like. Which, by the way, I'm excited that we have two story arcs waiting to be done. So there's actually a lot of potential for Dragon Ball content going forward, which is at least something.
Yes, I agree. I will say that the where the manga ends, like it wraps up the second arc, but it doesn't feel like an ending to Dragon Ball, which is one of the reasons why I would love to see it continue to do one more arc, close that last kind of open loop that they have for a story beat, and then I mean, even if they do that one more arc and that's where they decide they want to finish Dragon Ball, I'd be perfectly happy with that. I feel like Dragon Ball does need to end at some point, but I want to have a satisfactory ending to a story that has been influential throughout my entire life. So I want it to end in a I just want a satisfactory ending to this story, basically.
And I mean, the end of the main story doesn't mean the end of Dragon Ball, right? Like they could always come up with new characters, new timelines, just like they're doing with the Age 1000 or whatever. Because the Dragon Ball universe will always exist, regardless of whether this story comes to an end or not. So if they
Right.
end this story, it just means that they closed this door and opened up another one. Like I would love to have new characters, a new adventure, like really put that time into creating like uh just something new for me to really sink my teeth into. And I'm with you. I would like to see at some point the Dragon Ball story with all the characters we know and love. I would love to see a closing to that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. I know this will have mixed reception, but in some ways, I would love to see Dragon Ball go a similar route to something like Star Wars, where we close out the primary storyline, but there are so many, like you said, Dayton, there are going to be so many other stories to tell. I personally would love to see stories of either other characters or even completely, like we've wanted to see stories of side characters and stuff. I would even be happy with seeing like completely new characters or even different timelines, or different points in the timeline. I I think that stuff would be interesting. I mean, as much as I love Goku and Vegeta, it's become the Goku and Vegeta show, and they are, like you said earlier, Dayton, the stakes are basically universe destruction, and we don't know where to go from there. So bringing that to a little bit more grounded something with other characters would be a lot of fun to see.
And on top of that, like I mean, they're great characters, they're fun to follow, but like their actual character development has been a little stale for a little while. It's not like Goku is becoming a different person each season. Like he's kind of the same person at the end of it as he was at the start of it. And kind of the same thing with Vegeta. His character development has kind of stagnated as well. So I don't know how long you can keep putting these characters in situations and like not really having any development with them. Like I do want to see them get to their destination at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I will say is that like I kind of feel like Dragon Ball Super Vegeta regressed a little bit in terms of his character progression. In the two new arcs that have not been covered in the manga, though, there is some great character progression for Vegeta, which I mean, of course, I'm going to love. Uh, Goku, though, is not. I don't think Goku's changed since the Buu arc.
Well, the Buu arc actually, if there's one thing I will give the Buu arc credit for, is that it actually tried to develop the characters
Yeah,
somewhat. Um, like watching Vegeta deal with like his inner turmoil, fantastic, loved it. And then watching, we talked about this before too, watching Goku kind of start stepping into that mentor role, also badass. It's a shame that Super kind of went backwards in both of those developments, right? Like it feels like all of that progress just wasn't there once we got into Super, and that's just like a really missed opportunity.
yeah, I agree. Like as much as Super had me excited to see more Dragon Ball, I feel like in some ways it has done a disservice to our characters' stories, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think if we start gearing up, we start aiming towards a potential ending. I think you can really hammer home those stories. You can really get the characters involved in the events that are happening. And I mean, honestly, it's probably really tough to write character development for the same character, like 37 series. Like, how much can you develop a character before you're just out of ideas? Like, I can't do anything. Like, his story's done. How can he develop anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's why we've seen so many characters get sidelined, right? Like, whether it's Videl or Tien or whoever, like so many characters have just been kind of put off to the side because they've run through their arc. They have no more development to be had. Um,
Yeah, it I mean, either way, I hope they do that. I'm not gonna hold my breath though. The what I expect to happen is Dragon Ball will just run until it stops making money, and then it'll just stop and we won't have an ending. That's my actual guess as to how Dragon Ball kind of at some point just stops really being made for a while. I don't think we'll ever get the ending we're looking for, but it would be nice.
yeah, I have a feeling you're right. Funny enough, I might just have to be satisfied with the Dragon Ball GT ending because that one's actually quite good, for all of GT's faults. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens once they animate the Galactic Patrol and hopefully the arcs following that.
And the only other thing I wanted to say is, unsurprisingly, I just noticed that the general chatter around the internet is everyone's excited. Like, I don't think I saw a bad reaction to this, which why would there be, right? Like, the closest thing to a bad reaction I saw was people being like, so we're doing Beerus for a third or fourth time, huh? But now with the context that you just gave it's actually very exciting. So I think all of this is good news. I don't think there was really any bad takeaways from all these announcements. I think it's just an exciting time to be a Dragon Ball fan right now.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. We haven't really had much of anything since Daima, so I'm pretty pumped about this one. I don't know that I mean, I could gush about this for the whole day, but I think I will cut myself off there. I don't think I have a whole lot more to say about this. Did you have anything else, Dayton?
I think the only thing that I might say is, like, we're recording this pretty off the cuff. It's hasn't been that long since the announcement, so news is still kind of showing up. So this might not be 100% accurate by the time you guys listen to it. And if you guys have any updates or anything you want to react to or say, I recommend going over to our YouTube channel and putting some comments in there. I'm usually pretty good at seeing those because my phone's connected to it. But yeah, if you guys have any updates or want to comment on anything we talked about, just let us know over there, because it's as news rolls out, I'd love for people to be able to get those updates.
Yeah, that's a great point. I will also just point out our Discord too, if people want to go in there and like
Yes.
start chatting about the new content coming out. I mean, I will be in there and would love to chat with people about this stuff. I'm super pumped.
Hey, I see you guys in the spoiler section sometime. All right, like, I see those conversations happening. I'm like, mute.
Me trying to shield you from all the spoilers of the manga.
Like, oh, what are we talking about? Nope, don't want to look at that.
Uh-huh. But I think that's going to be it for this instant reaction episode of Instant Transmission, where we discuss everything Dragon Ball. This has been your host, Todd.
And Dayton.
This episode, as we said, should be coming out as soon as it's recorded, so be sure to join us next time for something.
I love something.
Possibly another movie, certainly more Dragon Ball, and absolutely more of Dayton and I making fools of ourselves on the internet for your enjoyment. And to all our fellow Dragon Ball fans, stay safe out there, and remember to keep rocking the dragon.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking excited.
I'm so excited.
Oh, copyright, dude. Come on.
Oh, shit.